This meeting is being recorded.
Okay,
I've started the
got
recording
it. Okay,
so that
All
we can
right.
got it.
start on time.
Okay.
Welcome.
Robin and I have 5 grandkids. And on New Year's Eve, I was dancing with some of them on my back.
Uh-huh.
That's
Oh my
wonderful.
gosh.
See,
Oh.
I might be older than you think too. I'm not in my 80s, but I
I've
am
got
in my 60s.
10. I can't keep, and
Welcome, everyone.
I got 2 greats, so that really tells you how old I am.
Wow.
But
Welcome,
Yeah.
everyone, to our first Sunday's gathering. This is an interfaith worship experience where we embrace differences and accept wholeness in each other. And I think most of us know the real here, but in case you don't, this is an active experience and we invite you to feel comfortable. And gallery view is the best way for you to be able to see everyone. And you can make gallery larger or smaller by sliding the 2 little lines in the center of your screen to the left or to the right. And then look and find your chat box button, because we will be using that throughout this presentation so that you can share some information and we can welcome you. And we'll have some time to share in small groups, and we will meet for about 60 minutes, maybe more. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. And we are Creation Spirituality, honoring all of creation as original blessing. Creation Spirituality integrates the religions of Eastern and Western spirituality with the emerging scientific understanding of the universe and the passion of creativity. It is both a tradition and a movement celebrated by mystics and agents of social change from every age and culture. It's also a tradition of the historical Jesus himself, since it is the wisdom tradition of Israel. And our team tonight is made up of Patty McGrath, Carolyn Million, Charlie, and me, Lori Crockett, and we welcome you all here tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to Patty.
Well, can you make the slides bigger? Or maybe I can make the slides bigger. There we go. Okay. So each month we focus on one of the 12 principles of creation spirituality. And tonight, the first principle, since it's January, the universe is fundamentally a blessing, and our relationship with the universe fills us with awe. So tonight, we're going to reflect on ways that we can remember our awe at all of creation in the midst of devastating military conflicts in the Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan, and too many other places on this planet. Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, the ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world it leaves its children.
Thank you, Patty.
Back to you, Lori.
Okay, we're going to start by joining the circle. At this part, you can use your chat box. Put in the chat box the name that you want to be called by, where on the planet you're speaking from, and acknowledge the ancestors who lived upon that land before you. If you need help knowing who those ancestors are, you can download the app nativeland.ca, enter your location, and it will tell you your known ancestors for where you live. So we'll take a few minutes to do that by using our chat. And then we will get back together.
Wow.
When you're finished writing, allow yourself to look around the room, around our virtual circle, using the gaze of darshan. That's making eye contact with the holiness in each other. Darshan is the loving gaze that restores both the giver and the received. And now thank you for joining our circle. You're welcome in this circle. You're welcome, whoever you are, however you identify yourself racially, whoever your people are, wherever you are from, and with whatever beliefs guide the purpose of your life. Aho. So we're going to take a few minutes to center into ourselves, get calm, take a moment to shake yourself out and relax. Put your feet on the floor. You're invited to take a few slow, deep breaths. Invite your body to relax and to soften anything that becomes too tight within. Shake yourself out a bit. Become more comfortable in your skin. Follow the rising and falling of your breath. Center into your personal rhythm. Invite yourself in your own way to turn your awareness toward the vital life force that is within us all and around all of us, and the vital love force that binds the universe together. Hold a moment in stillness with me. Let the stillness surround you. Invite yourself to become present to the deep reservoir of life that resides in this stillness. As a symbol of this renewed connection with our Creator, if it feels comfortable to you, we invite you to light a candle. You can light a real candle, or hold the picture of a candle, or find a candle on your cell phone, or simply imagine that your thumb is a candle. All of these lights remind us of the one light, the first light, our connection to the first beginning, the great flaring forth of creation. We now acknowledge this light and remember that everything in the known universe has its origin in a single point of light. We all stand together in the light of creation. And now we're going to take a few minutes to honor the directions. And you could do this either sitting down, or you can stand up, or if you have a swivel chair, you could turn yourself around, and whatever way you would like to do this. We will honor the 7 sacred directions together. We honor the direction of the east, the fullness of the dawn of the day, and of all the ancestors and wisdom teachers from the east. Next, we will honor the direction of the south, the fullness of the day, and all of the ancestors and wisdom teachers from the south. And we will turn to the west and honor the direction of the west, the dimming of the day, and all the ancestors and wisdom teachers from the west. Now we will face the north. We honor the direction of the north, the darkness of the night, and the shining of the stars, and all of the ancestors and wisdom teachers from the north. We honor Creator that we experience within us as the fire of the human heart. We give thanks. We honor Creator that we experience above us in the radiance of the heavens. We honor Creator that we experience below us in the firmness of the earth. Remind us, Creator, of our purity in creation, that we may never hesitate to perform your service. Aho.
Oh.
And I believe Carolyn is going to lead us in a body prayer.
One of our responsibilities as participants on planet Earth and people who are committed to walking a life of peacemaking is that we engage in peacemaking actively together. and that we imagine together a time where we're all engaged in peaceful activities. And for that, our body prayer today, we are going to turn to John Lennon and Yoko Ono. And I don't think I really need to teach this to you all. I feel pretty confident that most of you will know. So I'm not going to do a line, teach a line. We're just going to sing through it. But we don't have a piano with us today. And so I'm going to invite you all to remember, instead of listening to the piano as we're going from one phrase to the next, you're going to hold your phrase out and think of that as arms and hands as we're kind of stretching out to each other, because this is how we need to make this happen. This is how to make peace happen, to reach out to each other and to gather in community. And so we're going to start off right off the bat. Everybody's going to be on mute except, I guess, Lori and Patty and Jonathan and Barbara and Mary. Put yourself on mute. Maybe, do we have everyone on mute? Mary Jo, one more. All right, so imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Now, we all sang that through together, or some of us did. And now I'm going to invite us, since we've refreshed our minds how that goes, to bring in some more of our body. This is body prayer after all. And so if you want to stand, please stand. If you're not comfortable standing, that's fine too. But I think, imagine there's no heaven. Oh, what a horrible thought. It's easy if you try. That's a little easier than some of the others. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. And let's just all join hands together at the end there. I think I lost my gallery, so maybe it'll be harder for me to see us join hands. All right, so let's go ahead and do this all together. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Charlie? I'm not sure what's next. Maybe you can help me.
That is such a beautiful, beautiful song. So we have joined together in a virtual circle. We have opened the conscious connection to our Creator. We have enlivened and embodied our spirituality through body prayer. And now we come to a chance for each of us to start where we are, to name what is so for us right now, to take stock of what is present with us in this moment especially. We are going to be using the chat box for sharing, We ask that you be respectful with what you learn from someone else and hold confidentiality to our circle. As a way of honoring where we are, some of your responses will be read aloud as the chat box is filled. Take a moment of stillness with me to notice what you are bringing with you to this time of connection and community. As we start walking down the first path, the Via Positiva, the path of awe, wonder, and gratitude, where have you experienced these things this week? Where have you felt awe, wonder, or gratitude? Please use the chat box to let us know.
I am in awe in the peace of the long, dark nights and the rest and recuperation in them. Watching my two nephews open their Christmas gifts with outrageous joy. Joy at so many unexpected encounters with loved ones recently, building relationships. The snow and ice on Saturday. Grateful for time with our daughters and grandchildren. After a storm, the beauty of a white, snow-covered world. Awe at an amazing rainbow stretching across the sky. Accompanying my dying brother with the gorgeousness of my sister.
As we turn now to the path of the Via Negativa, path 2, where in your life have you experienced darkness, letting go, mystery, or loss this week? You can name any darkness, mystery, grief, or loss, or things that you do not understand. This is a place to mention any grief, sadness, regret, or loss of others that is stirring your heart.
Friends and relatives that are aging. Rewriting internal scripts of history in ways that prolong grief. Compound relationships and miss the mark a bit. Pain over the enmity between Israel and Palestine, Jonathan. Discouragement over my illness, Robin. Total grief at genocide and hatred in Israel and Palestine. Finding it hard to pray for she with whom I'm angry. Concern that arthritis in my back is more painful and limiting some activities. The politics of hatred.
And as we emerge from this silence, darkness, and grief onto the path of creativity, we realize that in the midst of so much change, we are called in different ways to give birth to new creations. Using the chat box, please name one or two places where you have been called to create. The places where you are being called to expand your creativity. This is a place to mention others who are giving birth to new things and express your support for them.
Finally, on the last chapter of the book that I'm writing on how people experience God, my psychotherapy practice from Jonathan, and the reading group is Robin is leading at the church. Writing more memoirs. I celebrate the creativity my Awen continues to open for me. Cooking, tending to my plants, and preparing for spring. Being asked by Spirit to be more proactive in envisioning peace and creating the world we want of peace. Soulfully being with wisdom folks and those whose unknown depths are emerging. Peacemakers and World Central Kitchen.
Now let us turn our attention to the fourth path, the Via Transformativa, the path of transformation and change. This is the place to name the transformations taking place in yourself and in others. It is also a place to honor the transformation taking place in our culture, our earth, our social institutions, and our deepest understandings. It is a place to name and remember the transformers that have inspired us.
I rejoice in the changes I see in the youth who are not as willing as my generation to put up with the way things are. Learning about many new things. Calling on all friends to inundate the White House with calls for ceasefire in Gaza. Owning my agency as a person, Jonathan. Sharing eco-spirituality with other, Robin. It's happening, but not without pain. Glad to be alive at this time of chaos. Good to see that some people are speaking out against anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. Matthew Fox, Jeremy Taylor, Patty McGrath, Michael Mansfield, Lori Crockett, Charlie Dorset, all our folks here in this circle. The work my granddaughter is doing to understand fire, weather, and climate change.
Infinite love, eternal source, never-ending wisdom. Our physical being is born of star stuff. Our immortal being lives in the breath of our Creator. We are the beloved children of the One. You hold and welcome us as we are, your blessed and beloved creation. You join us in times we are filled with awe, wonder, and gratitude. In the glorious peace of the long night, in the time that we get to spend with family and celebrate the holidays together, for the many unexpected encounters that have been enriching our lives, and the snow that has come down and transformed our world into a winter wonderland. You comfort and connect us when we feel alone through loss, in the many pains that we feel in our bodies and souls, in the grief that many are experiencing, and the loss that others have felt so dear, and sometimes even our own losses. As we learn to be still in this time of our lives and be strong in that silence and letting go. For the friends and relatives that are having to pull back, and for all of us who are struggling with pain in these long, dark nights. You inspire us to bring forth essential medicine for the soul and offer creativity that heals and rejuvenates us. Through the wonderful stories that fill our minds that we learn to share with others. Through our practice in helping and aiding others to heal their minds and their souls through psychotherapy and through the reading groups that help to enrich the lives of others. Through the memoirs that we write as we remember our lives and put them together in a way to show meaning and to share our experiences with others. And this glorious time of cooking. You call us to justice making and to live beyond ourselves in service to the communities that we are a part of. As we strive to find peace in our homeland, in our cities, and in our neighborhoods, and as we strive to get others to hear our calls for peace around the world, to an end of hate and bigotry, that we may, as the song we sang earlier reminds us, be a world that lives as one, and for all the voices that cry out for that unity. You embrace us just as we are in this moment. Blessed be, Aho, Amen.
Amen. This is a photo of the angel who listens for our proclamation of peace in today's deeply troubled world. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So our sacred reading is from Brother Joe Kilikevich, who's a Dominican brother in Chicago, the director of the Shem Center for Interfaith Spirituality. And I've taken these excerpts from his messages on his website. A holiday message that ignores the injustice and pain of today's world is difficult to put into words. The inescapable human anguish of those trapped in the conflict in Gaza appears live in our news media. The suffering and death of infants and children is happening to achieve military victory over long-standing enemies. The lack of food, water, electricity, fuel, and medical supplies in hospitals constitutes war crimes against humanity, but the war continues. We search for ways to protect our children from danger and the profound sadness of our time. An adult world full of conflict, lies, and danger is one we want to guard them against. We attempt to give our children the stories, the music, the gifts, and the colorful decorations that say, "Rejoice, the Son of God has come to live among us." A momentary relief comes to us as we try to give them what others gave us when we were their age. Yet courageous caregivers remain in harm's way to relieve human suffering in other parts of the world. Those of us who observe and celebrate Christmas look for ways to protect our children from suffering and harm, yet it is they who bring us some longed-for holiday joy. As one disappointment after another fills the news, the prophet Isaiah cites the good news that a child is born and a son is given to us. It is the innocence and the smiling faces of children who bring us a proclamation that we have another chance at life. As people struggling to be united, we come together to offer our prayers to heal our deeply broken world. And we are left with a question. Are there enough of us with enough hope to continue to believe in the goodness of life that belongs to all people everywhere, no exceptions. Are respect, compassion, justice, and love the birthright of all people everywhere? Brother Joe closes with a statement. We hold you and all the children of the world in our common bond of love. So those are the excerpts from the Shem Center. And now, for my contribution to this, to our exercise tonight, I wanted to go over a homily from the pastor of the Lutheran Church in Bethlehem. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Patty. I'm going to play the first minute or so to introduce it, and then I'm going to stop it and do towards the end for the part that we want to share tonight.
Yeah, we can't share the whole thing.
DemocracyNow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York with Democracy Now!'s Juan Gonzalez in Chicago.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Hi, Juan. We begin today's show in the occupied West Bank, in the city of Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. City and church leaders canceled all Christmas festivities in the Holy Land this year to mourn the more than 20,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza. The landmark Evangelical Lutheran Christmas Church in Bethlehem created a nativity scene with the figure of baby Jesus in a keffiyeh surrounded by rubble. Later in the show, we'll be joined by the church's pastor, the Reverend Munther Isaac, but we begin by airing his Christmas sermon, which he delivered on Saturday.
If I can get it to go and stay.
Now.org, the War and Peace Report.
To our European friends, I never, ever, and appalling. They always.
I will get it eventually here. So sorry. Okay.
When Gaza was going through a genocide. In these last 2 months, the Psalms of Lament have become a precious companion to us. We cried out, my God, why have you forsaken Gaza? Why do you hide your face from Gaza? In our pain, anguish, and lament, we have searched for God and found him under the rubble in Gaza. Jesus himself became the victim of the very same violence of the empire when he was in our land. He was tortured, crucified, he bled out as others watched. He was killed and cried out in pain, my God, where are you? In Gaza today, God is under the rubble. And in this Christmas season, as we search for Jesus, he is not to be found in the side of Rome, but our side of the wall. He's in a cave with a simple family, an occupied family. He's vulnerable, barely and miraculously surviving a massacre himself. He's among the refugees, among a refugee family. This is where Jesus is to be found today. If Jesus were to be born today, he would be born under the rubble in Gaza. When we glorify pride and richness, Jesus is under the rubble. When we rely on power, might, and weapons, Jesus is under the rubble. When we justify, rationalize, and theologize the bombing of children, Jesus is under the rubble. Jesus is under the rubble. This is his manger. He's at home with the marginalized, the suffering, the oppressed, and the displaced. This is his manger. And I have been looking and contemplating on this iconic image. God with us precisely in this way. This is the incarnation. Messy, bloody, poverty. This is the incarnation. And this child is our hope and inspiration. We look and see him in every child killed and pulled from under the rubble. While the world continues to reject the children of Gaza, Jesus says, just as you did to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me. You did it to me. Jesus not only calls them his own, he is them. He is the children of Gaza. We look at the Holy Family and see them in every family displaced and wandering, now homeless in despair. While the world discusses the fate of the people of Gaza as if they are unwanted boxes in a garage, God in the Christmas narrative shares their fate. He walks with them and calls them his own. So this manger is about resilience. It's about sumud. And the resilience of Jesus is in his meekness, is in his weakness, is in his vulnerability. The majesty of the incarnation lies in its solidarity with the marginalized. Resilience because this is the very same child who rose up from the midst of pain, destruction, darkness, and death to challenge empires, to speak truth to power, and deliver an everlasting victory over death and darkness. This very same child accomplished this. This is Christmas today in Palestine, and this is the Christmas message. Christmas is not about Santas. It's not about trees and gifts and lights. My goodness, how we have twisted the meaning of Christmas, how we have commercialized Christmas. I was, by the way, in the USA last month, the first Monday after Thanksgiving, and I was amazed by the amount of Christmas decorations and lights and all the commercial goods. And I couldn't help but think, they send us bombs while celebrating Christmas in their lands. They sing about the Prince of Peace in their land while playing the drum of war in our land. Christmas in Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus, is this manger. This is our message to the world today. It is a gospel message. It is a true and authentic Christmas message about the God who did not stay silent, but said his word, and his word was Jesus. Born among the occupied and marginalized, he is in solidarity with us in our pain and brokenness. This message is our message to the world today, and it is simply this: this genocide must stop now. Why don't we repeat it? Stop this genocide now. Can you say it with me? Stop this genocide. Let's say it one more time. Stop this genocide. This is our call. This is our plea. This is our prayer. Hear, O God. Amen.
The Reverend Munther Isaac. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York with
I think
We're
it
not
comes
ready
over
to
to
discuss
me
yet.
at this point. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm looking at the clock and I know we also want to have small group. I just want to say a couple things about responding to war. The natural response to war is, of course, grief. Grief, sadness, and it's really important that we talk about tools for how to deal with that. My favorite tools for dealing with grief and sadness are music. I find whenever you're really hard put, each of us, most people have music that they can turn to. It may be different from one person to the next in terms of what kind of music resonates with you. And the other thing I think is probably the most important response to have when it comes to grief is silence, to spend time in silence. And so I would like us all now to spend about a minute in silence, just a minute, but as a practice to remind us of the need in the face of war, in the face of grief, to exercise silence. Bow with me now. Naturally, you can spend as long as you need to with this, but I invite you to return to this, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed. And now for more on tools to deal with grieving and with war and conflict, Charlie.
Silence is where we connect to our depth. It's where we strip away everything else and just rest in, as Thich Nhat Hanh put it, that basic goodness, that basic joy that is in this world when we just sit and breathe and connect to that breath. But as we said in our prayer earlier, we're called into the Via Creativa to bring a special medicine into this world to heal it. And that comes into our world through our imagination, through our creativity. One of the many things that modernity brought about us as it attempted to disenchant us to be better factory workers is to get us to deprecate the power of our imagination, the power of our own creativity. But that's where all good things are born. You have to imagine something in order to make it. And if you can't imagine it, it's hard to make it. Peace is not something that we find, it's something that we make. Joy is not something that we find, it's something that we make. It's an active decision, it's a thing that we do. These are active verbs. They're not passive experiences that just wash down upon us or that we just happen to luck into. Yeah, we can luck into finding a happy moment or a peaceful moment, but peace itself, joy itself, is something that we make. And we have to have the imagination to see how we do that. And that could be through the words that we write to our congressmen, senators, and the elected leaders in an attempt to get them to see that we should not be supporting violence here, there, and yonder. We seem to be doing so much around the world, but also in how we live our daily lives. How can you imagine peace right now, where you are, amongst the people that you're in? Because anger is contagious. Hatred is contagious. Joy and peace are antidotes to these things. And like any vaccine, any medicine, they have to be made, they have to be manufactured, they have to be built inside us. And they're not always the same solution. What I do to bring peace in my life may not bring peace into yours, and vice versa. And that's where learning to imagine that peace really comes in to play. How do you make peace with people that you're angry with or that are angry with you? How do you make peace with those that say hurtful things around you? How do you make peace with people that you find feel like they're walking the wrong path? These are questions that have to be answered first in our imagination. And we have to think them through. How can I do this? How can I make this happen? How can I birth this peace into the world? And then when we see clear in our minds, we take action. And that is really the truest magic that we have in this world. This ability to think, to imagine, to dream of peace, to dream of joy, and to then manifest it, to bring it into our world, not through some divine intervention, but through our intervention. Well, wait, we are co-creators with God, as the Via Creativa reminds us. So maybe our action is the divine intervention that we're looking for. Our collective action is that divine intervention that we're calling out for. And we all have to find our part and our place in it. So when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel that great sorrow, when you feel like there's nothing you can do, remember, as the Apostle Paul said, we wrestle not with flesh and bone, but with powers and principalities in high places. Those thoughts that I can't do anything are what keep us from doing anything. It's in imagining that better world that we break those powers. And in taking action, we bring that joy and work it into our lives. That we bring that peace and bring it into our lives, because peace is also contagious. Joy is also contagious. So even if all you can do is bring peace between you and two other people in your household, they will spread that peace out into the world. And slowly, but truthfully, we can get to where we're wanting to go. And I hope that we're all filled with inspiration so that we can find that peace. Lori?
Next, we're going to break up into groups so that we can discuss this topic. And I'll just real quickly go over these respect guidelines to remind you when we're sharing to take responsibility for what you say and feel without blaming others. Use empathetic listening. Be sensitive to differences in communication styles. Ponder what you hear and feel before you speak. Examine your own assumptions and perceptions. Keep confidentiality. Trust ambiguity, because we are not here to debate who is right or who is wrong. And we have a couple of questions for you to ponder. And of course, you can discuss more than that also. There's 9 of us, so I'll break us up into 3 groups, I suppose. Our questions for discussion: how are you making joy in the midst of this grief? And ask ourselves, what can I do to promote peace? So I'm going to take a minute to break us up into breakout rooms. Okay. Is everyone back? Okay, we're going to go to body prayer, and Carolyn is going to lead us in body prayer.
Thank you, Lori. And so we do have another verse we're going to turn to after our discussion that we just had on imagining, well, on war and imagining peace. We're now going to turn, if we can get that up, Lori, second slide. That way we'll be looking at the same lyrics together. I'm kind of a little aware right now that Lori is an English teacher, and somehow John Lennon has an English error here. Imagine there's no countries. Well, I've looked it up several sources, and it seems it's imagine there's no countries. I don't know. I don't remember that being wrong. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and sing it the way that we have it here.
Carolyn,
He wrote the lyrics. They wrote the lyrics.
He is one of the Beatles, and rock and roll doesn't use grammar correctly. I just wanted to interject with that.
This is true.
Yeah, but I will also say that they're usually pretty good at their grammar. I think maybe compared to nowadays anyway. So yeah. Well, are we going to get that up, Lori? Still working on it. So
It's not up there?
No. Here are the lyrics. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. And then we do our chorus. So I think I'm going to ask you all to mute again. And I'll just sing it. And while we sing it, we'll go ahead and come up with some motions. Okay? Ready? Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Aho, may it be so.
Thank you, Carolyn.
And as always, you do have an opportunity to share some funds with us. If you want to also share your gifts, we are always welcoming you to join us in content or ideas. If you wish to donate in the financial way, you can see there our mailing address in Gilbert, Illinois. And of course, more convenient would be to go ahead on your computer, cscommunities.org/donate. We appreciate all of your giving from 2023. Thank you so much for that. And we really look forward to a new year of giving in 2024. Lori?
Okay, we're going to bless each other as we leave. The slide's up now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, Lori, you're good.
Okay. All right, so the best thing to do is to put yourself in gallery view so that you can see everyone and they can see you. And put one hand over your heart, put both of your hands over your heart for this part, and stay muted for this part. And repeat this blessing. The truth of my being is as radiant as a star.
The truth of my being is as radiant as a star.
The love within me is stronger than any other force in the universe.
Love within me is stronger than any force of the universe.
I am a beloved blessing of the Creator. Okay, and now you can unmute yourself. Take one of your hands off of your heart and put it out so that you can bless all of those that are with you here. And repeat after me. The truth of your being is as radiant as a star.
The truth.
The truth
of
of
your
your
being
As
is
radiant
radiant
as
as a star.
The love within you is stronger than any other force in the universe.
The
The
love
love
within
within
you
you
is stronger
than
than
any other
any
force
force in the universe.
You are a beloved blessing of the Creator.
You
are a beloved blessing of the Creator.
Creator.
Aho, blessed be.
Aho.
Blessed be.
Thank you. Okay, and now we will take a few moments to extinguish our candles. Got mine right here. As we come to the end of our time together, take your candle and transfer the light into your heart and send it forth to bless those around you. Now we will extinguish this flame even as our connection in spirit remains. Blessed be. And I thank everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, that was beautiful. We'll send
Yeah.
a follow-up email with a link to that.
Have a good
whole
month.
sermon.
See you February.
Yes, we'll see you
Roger.
in February, Roger. Yes,
Thank you
Well-
all.
Bye.
okay. Take
Bye.
care.
Many blessings.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Take care.
Hey, thank you.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
All right, Roger. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you save the chat, Lori? Save
Stop
the
the
chat.
recording.
You know, last time it saved itself without me having to tell it to.